Hello, this is Rich with MISO BIM. This tutorial topic is modifying line work. This course is considered beginner level. In this topic, you will learn to carry out the following operations: moving, scaling, trimming and extending, mirroring, and filleting. Several processes in Revit involve modifying line work. We encounter these in modeling operations that involve getting into sketch mode, like modeling a floor or a roof, and also when working with 2D lines. The ability to accurately and efficiently modify lines is a requirement for detailed and accurate modeling. Revit provides several tools in the Modify tab that ensure easy modification and replication of line work. The first tool we're going to look at is moving. Moving involves taking selected line work or other objects to a new location in a view. Most elements can be moved by selecting and dragging them from place to place. So if I press and drag on this couch, I can move this in any direction freely as I want. I'll hit Ctrl Z. What the Move tool does is it enables precise placement of elements and also provides options while doing this. To use the tool, select the object, so we'll select the sofa, and we'll click the Move command under the Modify tab in the Modify section of the tab. Before we move, one thing to note is in the options here is we have two boxes to select, either Constrain or Disjoin. The first one we'll talk about is Constrain. So what Constrain does is it constrains the direction that this can move in. So basically what we can do is only move in the X and Y direction, so left, right, up, and down. So if I press for the first point, I can move either left and right or up and down. I can't move in any angled direction with the Constrain box checked. One other thing to note when you're moving here is as you go in any direction, you'll see a temporary dimension. So if I wanted to move this 5 feet, I click the second time after I get to the 5 feet. Again, Control Z to go back. If I uncheck the constraint box now and do the move again, it's very similar to the free movement. I can go in any direction. Now if we move an element that is hosted like a door, we can also use the Disjoin command. So with the disjoin, if I select that, you'll notice that the constraint goes away. And what I can now do is disjoin this door from this wall. So if I wanted to move this door over to this wall, select the first point, and I select the second point on a new wall, and it's moved. Again, I'll hit Ctrl Z. If I tried to move this with the disjoin not selected, did the same 2 points, you can see here Revit will not allow me. The only place I can move is along the wall that is already hosted onto. Another way to move the objects in Revit is to use the temporary dimensions. So instead of going to the Move command itself, we can take this door, and you'll see we have the temporary dimensions here. So to get a precise distance, so for example, if I wanted to move this door 6 inches from this kitchen counter, I can go to the temporary dimension, type in 6 inches, and now the door is located 6 inches from the counter. If the temporary dimension is not on an edge or a referencing surface that you would like to use, you can easily move the temporary dimension by using the grips and selecting another item. One final way to move an object, if you needed to nudge it at a small increment, is you can click on an object and then using the arrow keys on your keyboard, you can go left, right, up, and down. The scaling operation is carried out to resize lines, images, walls, reference planes, and AutoCAD drawing imports. The Scale tool works mainly with 2D line objects and can scale an object graphically or numerically. Multiple elements can be resized simultaneously using the Scale tool. To use the Scale tool, first we'll select the elements to scale. Under the Modify tab, we'll go to Scale. And the first way to scale is we're going to do a graphic representation of the scale. So to do that, after selecting the elements, we'll click the origin of the scale, the original size, and then the third point, which will be the, let's say, scale size of the elements. Now we'll hit Control Z to undo that. Second way to do that, again, under Modify, we'll click Scale. If you know the scale number that you want to scale the objects, you can go to Numerical under the options, type in your scale factor. So we'll actually just keep it at 2. Click the origin point, and the items will scale. Trimming and extending are simple operations typically carried out on lines and walls using any of the Trim Extend tools on the Modify panel of the Modify tab. There are 3 tools used in the trimming and/or extending line work: Trim Extend to Corner, Trim Extend Single Element, or Trim Extend Multiple Elements. So to use these tools, we'll go to the Modify tab. We'll go to Trim Extend to Corner. We'll select the first element, and then the second element, and it'll close on the corner. I'm going to hit Ctrl-Z to undo that. Second tool, Trim Extend Single Element. Again, click on the tool. We're going to first click on the element we want to use as the, let's say, trim plane, and then we'll click on the second element that we want to either trim or extend. So in this case, if we want to trim, we're clicking on the side that we want to keep. Now, if you wanted to extend this piece, again, you select the plane you want to trim or extend to. In this case, we're going to extend, and then you click on the element you want to extend. I'm going to undo that twice. And then finally, Trim Extend Multiple Elements. Click on the tool, select where you want to trim extend, and then you select the elements that you want to trim and extend. So here we'll trim this piece, extend this one, and then it doesn't matter which side you're on, we'll trim on this opposite side for the third and final item. The Mirror tool allows you to mirror elements across an axis in order to create a mirror of an element or multiple elements. You can select an existing reference line using the Mirror Pick axis, or draw a temporary axis using the Mirror Draw axis as you mirror an object. The tool is used to flip a selected element or to make a copy of an element and reverse its position in one step. So as I mentioned, there are 2 tools. So the first one we're going to do is Mirror Pick axis. So if we wanted to take, let's say, this living room set and mirror it on this wall, we'll select the objects, and we'll go under the Modify tab to Mirror Pick Axis. And then we're going to pick the axis, which we'll use just the center of the wall here, and it'll mirror the element. If we wanted to mirror this and move it to the other side of the wall, again, we'll go to Mirror Pick Axis. But this time, under the options, you'll notice here it says Copy. So if we uncheck that box, then pick the axis, it essentially moves all of those elements. Hit Ctrl-Z to go back. Now, if we wanted to mirror this sofa to the other side of this rug here, where we don't have the ability to pick the axis, we'll select the object, and we'll go to Mirror Draw axis this time. So here we'll draw from, let's say, the center of this rug, pick the first point and second point of that axis, and now it'll mirror the couch. The final editing tool we're going to cover in this is filleting. Filleting is a method for replacing line geometry having sharp corners with rounded ones. This tool can also create rounded corners from non-parallel lines. It is available in all sketch mode environments and in interfaces for creating and editing line work. It can also be used with walls as well. So to fillet the 2 items, we're going to go to Annotate and Detail Line. And you'll see here in the Draw area of the Modify is where we find the Fillet Arc tool. So we click on the tool. We'll select the first element that we want to fillet and the second element. And now you'll see here, as I mouse over, I can click a third time to place the arc. And now the 2 elements are joined together with the arc. I'm going to hit Ctrl-Z again. If we know what the radius of the arc needs to be prior to doing the command, again, we can go to Detail Line, Click on Fillet. And here in the options bar, we can select radius. And then we can input whatever the radius is for the arc. Here we'll keep it at 1 foot. But again, we'll select the first line, the second line, and it automatically brings in the arc at the 1 foot radius. That concludes our beginner course on modifying line work. Thanks for watching.